And we're live, everybody. And we're live, everybody. You going to take that away, Christy?
Oh, is it my turn now? I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's what I
saw that Emma said that she's in. Now we can start. Emma is here. Okay. And we're going to give. Hold on. Okay. All so right. It's been a day, but tonight's going to be a really interesting show because here's what we're going to do. There has been a recent interview by Treasure Hunt with Us. You guys have to go subscribe to them with John Collins Black. And I don't know if you guys noticed, he dropped the mic a little bit. And when he did, there's been lots of debate on what does it mean, et cetera. One of these treasure hunters are a behavior analyst person. So like when someone looks up, looks down, looks over, what does it mean? Blinks their eyes, scratches their nose, those sorts of things. And they started talking. I've talked to them for a while about behavior analysis type of stuff. So I took the last few days and started looking at, is there a baseline of John's behavior versus that behavior that he exhibited when Emma and Jam got him like two different ways, didn't let him squiggle and wiggle out of answers. So we're going to do a little behavior analysis by an amateur. This is just for entertainment, but it's pretty interesting because we also were talking last night in Discord, and there's some other behavior analysts, and they want maybe to weigh in as well. And then there was some that says, no, we've already done this. There are super secret hints. Don't share them. But that's what we do. Part 2 is going to be, I went back to Justin's interview with us, and there's only very few times that he may have slipped up. Get it, Mike? Slipped up. Slipped up. I'm here all night. And then, so we're going to do a little analysis there. And then there's like 14 different updates. There's so much that's been happening in the treasure hunting amusement park. You're going to need to put @KPro because I'm not in my normal setup. And I have notes and I have things. And so that is what we're doing tonight. So you're going to need to bear with us. Mike has videos he's going to bring up. He's going to make sure their sound turned on. Some of them, I'm even going to ask, like, don't put the sound on, actually mute it. So then we can see if we think that there's analysis. Mike hasn't seen any of this. And you know he's the biggest doubting Mufasa in the entire universe. But then also the chat room. You guys weigh in and say, no, that wasn't a tell. Let's keep going kind of thing. So that's what we're doing tonight. And I think it's going to be awesome. And Mike, how are you?
I'm good. Happy Memorial Day, everybody. Thank you for your service, for all those who served. And I've seen the videos originally. I just never seen these pieces that KPro is going to point out tonight. So what I did is all these interviews, if you haven't seen them or you want to rewatch them, I've just listed them in the chat. That's what I was doing when we went live. So thank you. We took them from three different YouTube podcasts, and we'll give them credit as we show each one. So, let's jump right into it, I guess.
Yeah, and for a second, Mike is one that we do need to thank. Thank you for your service, and thank all of you for your service, whether it's a family member and you had to sacrifice or yourselves. So I feel pretty special. My husband's a veteran, and that's Cowlazars. He's awesome.
I had today off. I slept in, just been chilling, but been working on treasure hunts today, actually. So different things. Okay. Thank everybody for their service. All right. Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay. Which one do you want to jump into first, KPro?
Let's do JCBs, and I sent it to you in order, and I gave you the minute mark, and that's the whole thing. So here's the little bit that I know, and I know enough to probably look ridiculous, and it's not perfect. But here's what the behavior analysts say. They say you need to have enough of a baseline, which they call the baseline. So if somebody is in like a relaxed form, what do they usually like? I talk with my hands. I might look up constantly on a normal basis, so looking up isn't a big thing. So you have to have enough what they call baseline to see. Now, we have baselines. We don't have John in real life, but we do have John in an interview setting. And he has quite a few interviews. And I think his last interview, his cues, which is Over 75% of communication when someone's talking to you is nonverbal. How they look, the inclination, the all of those nonverbal cues. So what we're going to start with here is it doesn't really matter what he's saying as much as watch John's cues. Watch how often does he look up, look down? Does he scratch his face? Does he use his hands? Does he sit back? Does he laugh? What does he do on a normal basis? And then we'll get to the last hard-hitting rock star interview where we're going to see, are there differences? So the first couple is going to be the baseline. Yes, I have to talk with my hands because it helps. It helps. It helps. It helps me. It should help you.
I noticed John does this a lot with his glasses, so kind of the same thing. So let's see. So this is from Daily Flash, right, K-Pro? We're just going to get the baseline here.
I don't know, which I don't have mine up because I can't do
this is what you sent first. This is what you sent
first.
Okay.
So whatever minute mark I told you to start it on.
Yep. This is it. You tell me when to stop.
John, why are you doing this, man? Were you a treasure hunter as a kid? Why'd you jump in to do something?
He really likes to laugh as his first.
Yeah, I've always had the spirit of exploring.
Looks a little bit to the left.
My earliest memories of treasure hunting are being like 5 or 6 years old in the neighborhood digging.
But he's looking straight into the camera, right? And he's smiling. That's his kind of baseline. It was an easy softball question.
Now, and, just watching them
again doesn't necessarily. We don't care as much as what he's saying because this is a softball
I'll mute it. Yeah, I'll mute it. Go ahead.
But you can just see how relaxed he is. This is his normal setting. So he's talking. Oh, he uses a little bit of his hands. Maybe he got that from me. But you can see he's looking straight on, smiling, etc.
You know what it's like to be on the side of this.
That's enough of that one. This is like just the beginning piece.
Go to the next video?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That was quick. All right.
Something that's really.
So this one is from There's Treasure Inside, the unofficial podcast. You guys go subscribe to them. They are at.
So, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say they're at 1,500 subscribers. So you guys, they got the interview with John. Go subscribe to them. But.
So the interesting part about their interview is John knows this isn't a softball question from a really high end where they're just going to give him a, why did you do this? These guys are treasure hunters. So he's going to be, you can already see, he's a little more serious. So we're going to see him in more of a setting that is going to be typical for the treasure hunt with us interview. So I don't know if I give you a couple minute marks or I give you the whole time span, but we want to see a couple of the questions that aren't as softball throws and how he reacts again as a baseline. Okay, go, Mike.
Hang on. Oh, I think you. All right. Well, let's see how this goes. You mixed up a couple, but that's all right.
Compared to the other ones, fairly on the scale of easier for you to put together, just because you had done the forest fen hunt in earnest for a number of years, or not?
Yeah, you mean like putting the writing the poem and putting that together. That chapter, probably that was probably the easiest, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I always had this idea that I wanted to do an ode to forest. I think I may have mentioned in one of my other interviews that there was at one point that I'd even this before I had the boxes made, and I was looking for boxes, and I was not having a lot of success finding boxes that I thought that I really wanted. I attempted, or I inquired about acquiring the forest fin treasure before it went to auction, simply because I wanted a couple of pieces and I thought maybe I could repurpose the box. And then the day I was like, that's probably not the best idea. But I did want
looking down
to that experience.
Not a smiley.
I had gone on that,
but looking straight into the camera. So the answer, look a little bit up, maybe for a hot second, but does touch. I didn't notice that before, but does touch that.
Touches his glasses a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. So question one were questions pre-screened for us and
for any of them, probably. And I don't know the answer.
I don't think they were, but for this,
Emma says yes.
Okay.
Emma says
about my journey.
Okay.
Looking
so
for
he knew them up. He didn't with ours. He didn't with Emma and Jam's. I don't think.
That was
so you can see he's relaxed. He's looking. Maybe he looks a little bit over because he's kind of answering the questions, kind of hitting the brain.
You mentioned in the past that it's just so hard to know.
Go to the next one, Mike. Again, basic, right? You don't see a ton of looking up. You don't see any fluttering of the eyes. You don't see any of that.
All right. The next one is our interview that we did with Mr. JCB.
And we did not give him questions up front. And he knew we were the hardest hitting. Well, now that we have Emma and Jam. They're the hardest hitting, but he knew we were going to have poignant questions. He had to be ready for it type of thing. So this is, again, we're not Diane Sawyer and all that. We're bringing it, and he knows it. Okay.
Diane Sawyer. All right. This is
Why
about.
are you laughing?
Oh, it's just kind of old. I think Diane Sawyer's an old reference, isn't it?
Diane
Anyway.
Sawyer had a picture with Forrest. That's why I referenced. Okay.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. All right.
I'm not old,
Okay,
Mike.
here we go. And gets that pickle jar. In your opinion, they can share it?
Pickle jar.
Yes, I know I think there's been a lot of discussion about this. So I contacted lawyers, and basically universally they said, when Forrest put that in the jar and put that out for other people to find, he in fact published it.
Mm-hmm.
And if something,
So far, he's just straight in the camera, right?
Straight into the camera. And that was a question. This is a legal question. So this, again, we're getting a baseline. He's looking straight in the camera, a little bit on the glasses, but he's looking straight into the camera, smiling a little, but not overly smiling like he did with, knucklehead Diane Sawyer type. He knew there was going to be some hard-hitting questions. So he's a little bit more serious.
has it, can share it, has the rights to it. And so my legal opinion was there's no standing to stop someone who has it to share or talk about it or show it or do anything like that. And that's where I stand based on the lawyers I've talked to. Other people might disagree, but I spoke to some very high-powered lawyers who felt like that I absolutely had the right to do anything.
High-powered lawyers.
There you go. Okay, so now we're going to jump forward to opening the olive jar. I think him opening the olive jar, right?
Yeah, so
Which
this
is
one,
right here.
this one was a question that we knew the answer. He probably knew that we knew, but was not out for everyone that he opened the jar. So this is probably the most aha, zinging moment that we would have out of all of this that may caught him off guard, because he's looking to kind of protect Jens in case Jens tries to finish his doc before 2065. So this one I think is a good one because it gives the baseline of when maybe he's caught a little off guard and it's a complex question to answer. Go ahead.
Opening the olive jar. Will that be released? Will people be able to get to see that at some point?
There was a video made of me opening the olive jar, but whether or not that gets released, I have no idea. Jens shot that. I don't know where he is in terms of his documentary right now, so I haven't really asked him about that. So you would have to ask him about that.
Okay, so stop there.
Pretty straightforward, right?
Yeah, so bring this down. So the only thing he does at the end, he does a little like
out of the end. Okay.
So, but you could see everything he did. He answered straight into the camera. He, it was really, he was really upfront, right?
Yeah, seems like it. Pretty straightforward answers, Now this one's huge. This comes from Treasure Hunt with us, our friends. 1,700 subscribers. Everybody go subscribe to Treasure Hunt with us. Let's get them to 2,000 subscribers. And this is the how about national park question. So now let's pay. This is about 2 minutes long.
I got to tee this up.
Okay.
Okay, bring this down for a second. So we've seen that is the totality, and you can go and look at many more of his videos and going all the way through them. That's what I consider the best baselines. The best. Here's what he's usually doing. Even if they're harder questions, he's looking straight into the camera. I didn't notice this. A little bit of lip, but other than that, he's not looking up. Looking up is usually, let me be clear because you're going to see a little bit of looking up. Looking up does not mean he's lying. Looking up will mean that he is needing to be thoughtful, critical thinking. There might be something. Right? Yeah, he's having, and then we can even get into left and right, but we won't go that far. But it's not a straightforward answer. That means that he's not just saying the truth. He is saying something that he either needs to be careful about or deception. It could be either one. So when we look at these now, and you guys maybe can pick up some additional things, but I wanted to tee up what the looking up meant. The looking down let's just do the looking up piece for now. Okay.
All right. So before we start, I will say, Emma, what's going on right here? What's that on the wall? All right. Sorry. All right, here we go.
What is that on the wall? Now I need to know.
It's like one of his kid, whatever. I don't know. I won't guess. All right. Here we go. Check out
Back to Smiley. Look, he's smiling.
What?
He's smiling. This is his first interview in a long time. So he's smiling.
Follow the rules.
Yeah.
You know what? Let's go back and get the question.
Goonie mentality, right? So when you were navigating hiding the boxes, like when you came across things like national parks, were you the kind of risk taker who's like, they're not going to know I stuck it here, or were you like, I'm going to follow the rules?
Yeah. So are you saying
So right there, he's got to look around like he's thinking, right?
And he's closing his eyes and they're fluttering a little. Now he
He's
is going
like,
to ask for clarification. So that might just be he's trying to process as he's trying to understand the question.
He's doing a Stevie Wonder right here. Okay.
that there's rules that you're not supposed to hide treasure in
Oh, yes. Yeah, we've actually talked to multiple national parks.
Like he doesn't know. Look at his face. Like, are there rules? It's crazy. Are there rules to not hide it there? He knows. I mean, I don't know. His face is pretty comical.
Yeah. So are you saying that there's rules that you're not supposed to hide treasure in
Oh, yes. Yeah, we've actually
Right.
talked to multiple.
Yeah, look at the smirk.
Yeah,
Right.
it's the strictest in the whole entire United States.
Whole
You
US.
cannot hide a treasure there, according to them.
Yeah.
What's it called? Now, there's plenty of other places you're allowed. You know, obviously you hit it on public property, but
Yeah.
And
National
yeah.
forests, you know.
I
your
would
food.
Jam slips it in there. Obviously, you hit it on another property, not a national park. I caught it, Jam. I caught another one you said too. All right.
No, I would not rule out national forest or national parks. I wouldn't like.
You are such a rule breaker.
I mean,
You are.
like, look. I guess in a
Now
way
he's
that I
looking
am, but
down.
it's not intentional. It's
Right.
more like
Straight up.
I created this.
Yeah.
Look at
and
his
I've,
eyes
you've
right
never
now.
heard me say this before, but
Right.
I've created this because I wanted to
Again.
analog
Straight up.
adventure in a digital world. I wanted something.
Yeah.
And
Right.
we'll go over all this once we analyze it. I want to go like let it play.
Treasure would have been hidden 100 years ago, 200 years ago, 500 years ago. So there's a lot of rules and regulations and
again.
bylaws and things.
We've not seen
and
this
so on
before.
and so forth.
He is
And I'm
looking
sure if you
straight up again. Okay, so
Right.
rewind it to the point, and we're just gonna let it go all the way through. I won't yell, look at that,
Yeah.
but
It's about 2 minutes.
interesting.
All right. Let's
Yeah,
play it.
it is about 2 minutes, but look how interesting his cues are completely different. Pay attention to what he's saying when he's looking straight up or straight down or having any of those visual clues that we can see now. Okay, go.
Across things like national parks, were you the kind of risk taker who's like, they're not going to know I stuck it here, or were you like, I'm going to follow the rules?
Yeah. So are you saying that there's rules that you're not supposed to hide treasure in
Oh, yes. Yeah, we've actually talked
are
to
the
multiple
strictest.
national parks.
Yeah, this is strictest in the whole entire United States.
Whole
You
US.
cannot hide a treasure there, according to them.
Yeah.
What's it called? Now, there's plenty of other places you're allowed. You know, obviously you hit it on public property, but
Yeah.
And yes, it's
National
like, no.
forests, you know.
I
your
would
food.
not. I would not rule out national forest or national parks. I wouldn't like.
You are such a rule breaker.
I mean,
You are.
like, look. I guess in a way that I am, but it's not intentional. It's
Right.
more like I created this, and I've said you've probably heard me say this before, but I've created this because I wanted an analog adventure in a digital world. I wanted something
yes.
harken back to, how treasure would have been hidden 100 years ago, 200 years ago, 500 years ago. So there's a lot of rules and regulations and bylaws and things and so on and so forth. And I'm sure if you go to every park ranger in the country and ask them, these questions, they're going to give you a answer that they've been trained to give that, and that's probably a true answer. But I didn't really take those things into consideration because, what I did take into consideration was I didn't want to disrupt any, of the environment. I didn't want to disrupt anything in nature. That's why I said, don't go out trying to dig up stuff because you can get in trouble by going into the national park or forest and digging up stuff. You don't need to do that. So I want to be, people should be sensible, but at the end of the day, I wanted this to be, I wanted it to feel real. And for me, it needed to be able to have as few, stipulations as possible. Obviously, private land, that's a stipulation, no need. I mean, there's no need to do that. But
Don't
public
dig.
land to me is for the public, and maybe people would argue with me legally about that, but I didn't take that in consideration. That doesn't mean that they're in or anything is in a national park or national forest, but I just did not take that in consideration.
Yeah.
Okay, stop there.
He looked up a lot during that.
Well,
Oops.
every time he's like, I didn't take that into consideration. It was, I didn't take that into
Yeah.
That was exactly when he looked up, like, it's for the people, but I don't really care. People could legally, he just bounced. And again, since we have a baseline and we don't see him pretty much ever doing that, that seems that he might not be flat out lying, but he is being very careful with this. He could be lying. It could be deception. But it also could be he's trying to be careful with his wording. So he's having to reach. When you look up, it hits your imaginative part of you're given imagination answer. And so there you have it. I think that one is probably the most blatant that I thought, wow, I didn't realize that the first 5 times I watched it. So yes, and Emma and Jam, you guys did awesome. So Mike, you have another minute mark.
Yeah. Okay. We're going to go over to here. Oh, it's actually what he was just going into. Okay. Same video, right? Yes. Okay. This is about off trail, everybody.
Take that in consideration.
Yeah, great. That's a great answer. So I'm hiking on a trail. I'm trying to find this treasure. It's obviously not going to be sitting in the middle of the trail, right? I go 100 yards, a whole football field off the trail. Am I too far? Am I not far enough? Do I go 200 yards? Are you talking
about trails in general, or are you talking about the Appalachian Trail because there's one called the Appalachian Trail?
Trails in general.
Trails in general, any box, just randomly
or
any box.
within your 3 mile. I mean,
yeah, because
you have to understand. Like I didn't want someone to accidentally stumble over a box. So putting a box really close to a trail, I mean, in certain cases that would work, but in certain cases, a lot of cases it wouldn't. So I don't think I've ever stipulated that it was really close to a trail.
So it seems like when he's making sure he gives the right answer is when he really looks up and thinks about it, right? Would that be a way to say it?
Well, it's actually whether it's the information that I read from the experts is there's a lag or it's like a precursor. He's looking up to get that, and it's usually a second or two after that. So the answer is actually lagged by a couple seconds. But if he's giving 2 or 3 different, we could actually get into this eye deception goes to this answer, but it's like a wave. It goes, see a wave? I have to do it with my hand or you don't understand. It's a wave.
He wouldn't do so good at poker. That's funny. Okay, let's keep going.
Well, it could be, it might be, but I wouldn't. That doesn't mean it is.
It's actually a great family debate. You've been helpful because
Yeah, I think it's minimum 100 yards off, but that's just me. Do you think that's a fair estimate that it would be minimum 100 yards away from any trail?
He looks down.
Oh, I don't know if I can answer that question.
No worries, you don't have to answer.
All right. Last one.
Oh, I thought that was the last one. So if there's one more.
Oh, no, there's one more with Justin.
Oh, right. Okay. So, bring this down. So that is
Can't forget about Justin. All right. Go ahead.
Well, no, I thought you said one more for JCB.
No.
So that shows you if you guys want to do this exercise. And somebody said, why didn't you do this with the fen hunt? Justin hadn't given me the idea yet. Justin's the one that talked about all these micro expressions. And I'm not a supercomputer like Justin's code and he wrote, but it seems rather obvious to me. Now, some people are saying, no, he planted that. That was all natural. You guys are all silly. Cool. I'm full of silly sauce. I love it. I just think maybe you should consider it. That's all I'm saying. So that is JCBs. Now, if you want to go back and do some analysis of your own and say, oh, but you missed this one or this one meant this or just something that I found. What did you think, Mike, of that? Do you think it was this is all silly sauce and that's just invented?
It's interesting to see when his responses are calculated and not just truthful. I don't know if truthful is the right word, but if he has to think of the response and calculate it, it's related to the location of the treasure, right? He's got to be careful not to give too much info. So that is interesting to focus in on that part, whereas he's just answering questions straight up, like the olive jar that he was filmed with opening.
So here's what I was thinking for Justin's. What if we muted it and just started playing it? And you and I can talk about stuff.
Right.
And you tell me when you see Justin look. So here's the issue with Justin's. Justin, I believe, has a screen that's just above him. So he does look where it makes it seem like he looks up a little, but that's very different than looking kind of straight up. So his will
Right.
be a little bit harder to decipher because I think he has the 27 monitor system like we saw in Netflix.
Right,
And
right,
because of that, I say we mute it. So you can see we're saying hello. We're hitting the hard-hitting questions. He is straight. This is our baseline. And all of his interviews were like this piece. So that's why I didn't go into the other interviews. He looks straight into the camera. He's very pleasing. He smiles. You can tell he's prepared. He says during our interview, okay, this is where he had a technical issue.
Yeah, audio issue.
Yeah, so this one, we haven't gotten into the questions yet. So if you start looking into kind of that next piece, okay, he's fixing his monitor did something funny, and okay, hold on.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, got it. So you can see, do you see how he's answering right now? This is what rather than going to a bunch of different interviews, he's straightforward into the camera. He may bounce over. He's probably reading different chats and things, but he's trying to stay pleasant, or I won't even say trying. He seems to be smiling and pleasant. Now, this is my first hard-hitting question, which relates to, I think it's technical knowledge or something. So he's kind of given some cues, smiling, maybe closing his eyes a little, but for the most part, very straightforward. And Mike, if you want to put it on 2x speed, we can, until we see something, that'll help kind of make this a 5-minute process rather than a 15-minute process.
I hate the 2x speed, but okay. Well, if you're listening to audio, I got you. Okay. So right there, he's answering. He's just answering. Okay.
Yeah, and especially when it comes to safety questions and things, he is very straightforward. His eyes move around a little. He doesn't talk with his hands like I do. And you can see he has very tight focus. We think that's for a specific reason later. But smiling, I mean, smirking at times, smiling at times. But overall, that you can see the eye contact is there. So now we'll probably get into, I think there's 2 or 3. Okay, he just finished up that question. So now we're on this next question, and that's coming from you, Mike. So
he kind of looks off, but
he looks off. I consider this just above the monitor, but not directly high. So there.
Yeah, he's thinking about the answer. You want me to play it or no?
Yeah, play it and take it off 2x speed. This is the 10. I think this is how bad I am. I think I know what this is. How many clues are in the poem? And he's pretending like he. Okay, go ahead.
Sounds like fun, but I can put that to rest right now. There's no hidden codes in the website itself. You know, nothing that would require like an engineering degree or computer science degree or anything like that.
Awesome.
Okay.
So in the Forrest Fenn poem, there were 9 clues. Can you say, is there a certain number of clues in your poem?
Well, that's a good question.
So he's literally thinking about it. Yeah.
So let me ask you a question, Mike. You were a searcher for the Forrest Fenn treasure hunt. You went hundreds of times. You're a mathematical guy. If I asked you how many clues are in your poem, do you think you wouldn't have been ready for that question?
You'd think you wouldn't have to think about it. But his answer explains it a little bit. Yeah, check it out. Right. You know the number, but here, check it out. Long pause.
I think yes. And I'm trying to recall how many there are.
Yeah, how would he not know? Like, he's trying to recall how many there are. That doesn't sound right, does it?
To me, Andrew add in his visual cues. Yeah, and here's what I actually personally think happened. He had given Jenny 6 questions a few days before that, and that was one of her big scoops or one of her big reveals. And she had delayed, or she hadn't gotten it out yet. She got out the 6 questions by the next morning. So I think he was trying to give her grace of, oh, I kind of gave this one to Jenny. I don't want to answer it here. That's my guess. But I don't know.
Update the website with that. But I don't want to say something that is slightly off, because there's a few in there where it's like,
so he's closing his eyes. He's trying to think about it. You can see a lot more cues on this one where he either doesn't want to answer or he wants to be creative with this answer. So he's been pretty streamlined, right? With his answers. This is the first one. Okay, put it back on mute and go 2 times again.
Well, hang on.
Okay.
I wanted to hear what he said real quick.
And I'm trying to recall how many there are.
That doesn't sound right, but he laughs like. But it's this next part.
You know, I'll update the website with that, but I don't want to say something that is slightly off because there's a few in there where it's like
eyes closed.
Would you consider that 1 clue or 2?
1 clue or 2. There's a few in there. Where is it? 1 clue or 2?
And,
that's interesting.
I know people will split hairs on this later, so I want to be really cautious about how I answer that. So,
yeah, interesting. Okay.
Okay. So now you can see the difference between the first couple questions and that one. I think, okay, let's just give him benefit of the doubt. He didn't know exactly. So you can see how his cues differ with that question. Now we ask him a question. I don't know what it is. And you can see he is looking right at the camera saying yes. There's not a lot of what we saw with that 10 clues question. Okay, so now we're going to the next one. Now he's looking straight. Okay, now we need to rewind. We got to do this one. Right?
Yeah, let's see what he was thinking about.
They're 550, 500. Like, how many hints are we looking for in this book? Because we can see every page, 10 each page, but can you give us a ballpark of what we're looking at?
Oh, boy. That's another good question.
Trying to think how to answer, right?
I would say several. There are several. It's
and so
not
he just
like
looks up
one
several
specific page in
but
the
he's
book.
looking around, lots of
there are
inflection.
several sprinkled throughout.
Okay.
And you know we're treasure hunters, so we're going to ask these questions.
Right, and
Just answer what you can.
And
So
Mr.
you said there will be a 30-day clock that starts when somebody finds it, which sounds like you know when somebody finds it. And sorry.
Okay. Mr. Boxfinder, not lying maliciously. That's exactly right. To be clear, this does not mean he's lying. That means he's either being very thoughtful in his answers. He's having to get into the part of his imagination in his mind. He's either wanting to hold something back. He could be lying, but that's just one of several things he's doing. He's needing to elicit the parts of his brain to actually make, it's not just a yes, no answer. You can see even when he answers the question a little bit later on Brandon, and would he have done this if his brother didn't die? He looked straight into the camera and said, probably not. This is like a tribute to him. There was no looking around, any of that. So it's just interesting to see the differences. Okay, watch the eyeballs. Yeah, watch the eyeballs. Okay, keep going.
In order to start that 30-day clock. Are you the only one that knows when somebody?
And I would hit 2 times speed. So he's answering the question related to you're the only one that knows with the steward. He pops his eyes up for a second. That doesn't mean a lot. It needs to be something more than just boom, that's it. But you can see his thoughtful answers. He kind of almost has a little burrow to his brow, and he's looking a little bit left and right, and that means something too. But
he's like, what else are these guys going to throw at me?
scratching the eye.
Well, JCB sure has more animated facial expressions, I think, especially with the
I
glass.
kind of wanted to go with him first because it's so, or maybe I should have. Okay, this is where, okay, so go back this question, whatever it is. And we're about halfway through his video, guys.
I'm not sure where it
Goodness,
was.
yeah, I'd actually have
this.
to
Yeah, let
check
it
the
go through.
inventory
Yeah,
to be
it'll be
certain
this
on the
next
number
question.
there, but there are many, and there are all, I think almost exclusively all of them are at least 1 ounce or larger.
Talking about the treasure.
Exception being something like, the coin from the Lydian Empire. They didn't make 1 ounce gold coins back then, so that's quite a bit smaller. And the 1652 oak tree shilling is, I think it's comparable in size to the 1 ounce gold coins.
So
but
think about this. He's wanting to,
but
not deception. I don't think this answer is deceptive at all. You can mute it if you want and let it play. It's not deceptive at all, but he's being creative about what answers is he going to give. It's not that straightforward answer. There's a lot of thought and wording, and he could be thinking, which one do I want to highlight for another reason type of thing. There could be something more here.
Yeah, I mean, definitely And I guess that's the question: is should we pay more attention to the parts with JCB and Justin when they're thinking about their answers? It's more of a calculated answer, because would they let something slip like Forrest Fenn did, or at least a lot of people think Forrest Fenn did.
Forrest didn't think he was going to, and Justin and John probably think they're not going to. I actually don't see this as this is going to get you absolutely to the gold, but I do think it's interesting that the questions for JCB that he showed those visual outliers was in relation to whether he forgot whether he cared if it was legal that he put it in a national park, and how far it is off a trail. Go analyze those answers now, and you can take it from there. We're going to do that with Justin's on a couple of other things in a minute. Go ahead, Mike.
We're going to laugh about something. And again, guys, if you want to watch these interviews in full, all the interviews are linked down in the description. Go check them out. Make sure you go give a like and subscribe to all the channels. Except for the Daily Mail. That's just the news.
Yeah, if you put it on 2 times speed, we'll get through it quicker.
I thought it was. Oh, okay.
So he's looking down. He's thoughtful. Yeah. So he's just, are you going to give the full solution? I think that was that question. You're like, yes.
So the question is, does it matter if he looks down or if he looks up? Are those 2 different things, or no?
They are, but I didn't get into that level. Down and even to the left or the right. Up means imagination. Down, I don't remember what it means. I didn't analyze that. I looked at all of it, but it was really the up. Up left and up right even have a whole aspect that we won't get into. So you can see again, his baseline is looking almost a little down or a little up, a little bit of,
Let's see what that was. What do you think that question was, K-Bro?
Technical, maybe?
I'm not ignoring anybody. Please know that. But I did see a few questions. There were some folks that have disabilities or are otherwise not in a position to hike great distances. Rest assured, you don't need to hike any great distance. In fact, I go so far as to say that you don't need to hike more than a mile to figure out where the treasure's at.
Oh, more than a mile. Awesome.
Another great answer. Thank you.
Okay, we know that.
Now the interesting one on this, mute this for a second. This is one. So he looked up when he said that. Now I want to debate this later, Mike, or we can do it now. Later, he has to clarify the 1 mile. Is that because he knew there was something a little off about the mile? He's looking up. Or do you think that's a straight shooting answer that he just gave?
I think it's a straight answer. I mean, he had to think about it, but maybe he was just thinking of the distance. I don't know. I thought it was coming up when he looked up. Let's see. Was it this the question? Items for the eventual finder.
There are some additional items.
Okay. Yeah, I think he's straightforward with his answers. I guess it depends on the question. So you had to think about that one.
That one right there. Yeah, go back.
We didn't have the Bitcoin password. Does the steward have other treasure items for the eventual finder?
There are some additional items that the steward has, yes.
Nice. All right. See, it's funny, and I'll just point this out just because we happen to stop at this point. It's separate from this conversation, but somewhere Justin posted, I think on Twitter, that the entire treasure is in the wilderness. But he just said the steward has additional items. So isn't that a contradiction? I don't think it is, because he said additional items. He doesn't consider those items part of the treasure. They're additional. So,
well, the interesting part is some of the people in that chat were talking about wilderness reserve, or wilderness was more of the keyword than the other. And I was like, oh Lord. So it really got to that. The context is gone. So it's hard to figure out. So,
all right.
Wow. Okay. And it kind of answers it with IT, but I want to get a little bit more specific. Advanced ciphers that you and Mike might find enjoyable. Some of us don't. Are advanced ciphers needed, or did you kind of answer that with the question of this is for everybody, or are those fair game?
Yeah.
So you had to really think about it.
I think I'd answer that by saying there's one hint that I just couldn't help myself that I think maybe arguably could require a slight bit of technical knowledge, possibly.
See, and I think, okay, you can go back to meeting it. But you can have him keep going. The reason that I like this one is he was being very thoughtful. He didn't want to say too much. He wasn't ready for it, ready for that particular exact answer, like just off the cuff. He thought it was really important. Okay, wait, there's another one.
Are we going through this whole video?
Yeah.
All right.
It goes until the 14-minute mark. Are you busy? Do you have a date tonight? What's going on, Mike?
No, we do have other things to get to, though. eBay.
I know.
Let me know when to stop it. I need to do something real quick.
I'd stop it here. I think this is the one he looks at.
That we would need to worry about not being accessible 24/7.
As of March 31st at 8:10 p.m. Central Time, 2025, no, there shouldn't be any restrictions in that regard.
Should we talk about him giving the date, or you want to do that after?
Yeah, I want to talk about the date after.
Okay. Do you have to pay to get into the location?
No.
So very straightforward, looking straight into the camera.
This was a huge one for Forrest Fenn. Will you give the complete solve after it's found, including the Netflix hit?
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't see why I wouldn't. I can imagine, I mean, just being in the position that I was in, and many of us throughout the Forrest Fenn hunt, it was pretty maddening at the end to really want to understand what the solution was. And I know there's not going to be any pleasing everybody. No matter what the solution is, there will be people out there that say it's horrible, it's the worst poem in the world. That's fine. But what I do think is important is that people have some degree of closure. So yes, I do plan to do that.
And that's why Beyond the Map's Edge is a great hunt, because you've been on the other side. You've been a hunter, right? You've been in that position.
I have, yeah.
Yeah. So here's a big one: the LLC transfer from Texas to Wyoming. Okay, keep going.
Yeah. Well, and keep going. Let it keep going. Some people keep saying, but he's not deceptive. He's not deceptive. Let me repeat, just so everybody's clear. Looking up does not mean deceptive necessarily. If I was a cop in front of a murderer and the murderer was saying no and looking up, maybe. Deception is one piece, but it means that he's being very thoughtful in his responses. He's either guarded with how he wants to word something, like when it came to the cipher, or lying. I don't think any of these personally, this is my opinion, personally, I don't think any of these are lying. I think it is interesting, the ones that he needed to be very thoughtful in response. He didn't know that there was 10 clues in his poem because of the one or two, maybe. So he wanted to be very thoughtful in his answers. I think we're coming up on the end of his, I think that might have been the last one.
Okay. It is interesting. You want to talk about the date of
Sure.
that he said as of today, or what do you want to talk about next?
Yeah, we can do that. I have a whole list of things, so you can do it in the order. So you need to bring up, I don't know, I'm hoping it's not on Twitter. I think it is on his website, I hope, about his clarification. So we asked him the question, what question did we ask? Is it accessible 365 days a year? And his answer was, as of March 31st, 7:35 p.m., it is accessible. Right. Then he needed a clarification. Can you read the clarification?
I would have to find out where it is. I don't.
See, I would hope it's on his website.
Frequently asked questions.
Yeah, it should be. But
the treasure, is it really out there?
I think it's on his announcements, not frequently asked questions.
Oh, okay. Announcements. Yeah, here we go. Here, is this what you mean here? May 4th, Star Wars Day. Based on a recent email reply to a nice man named Mark regarding a road closure due to maintenance, I want to clarify. Is this what you're referring to?
Yes.
Areas that are legally accessible to the public as of today are valid hunt locations, even if they require longer hikes due to road closures, have seasonal road access restrictions, or involve temporary maintenance-related detours. seasonal road access restrictions. The treasure is hidden on publicly accessible land, focuses on legal accessibility of the final location, not convenience of access. Safety must always be your top priority. Okay. In summary, if you can legally reach the spot, regardless of how challenging the journey might be at certain times, it remains a valid hunt location. While the location could be legally accessed at the time of abandonment, participants are solely responsible for determining current access rights and obtaining any required permits or permissions, because land status and access rights may change over time. What do you think, Kate-Bro?
Okay, so I initially thought the Scenic Highway or the Scenic Byway. Well, it's seasonal roads, so that's back in. But then after a couple of days of discussion with a few people, I stopped myself. And I want to throw this out to you, Mike, and see what you think. When Justin was asked on March 31st, is it accessible? And I don't remember exactly our words. We probably should bring it up. But he says, as of March 31st, 2025 at 7:35 p.m., it is accessible.
Mm-hmm.
I think that I linked what he just said to that it wasn't accessible March 31st. Yes, it was accessible. So if it was a seasonal road closure like the byway, I think that's out now. And I know a lot of people are going to be pissed off at me for saying that.
It depends what accessible means. When he says it's accessible, you can still get to it. It's just the road might be closed. You can walk to it. Is that what, would you take it that way or no?
Well, so let me give you an example of where you might mean, and maybe he's trying to encourage this person. So
Right.
at the Scenic Byway, a gentleman searcher wasn't able to get any further. So he parked his car. He started snowshoeing in. He got stranded and he had to be helicoptered out. Do you think Justin's trying to encourage him to do that? That happened about a month ago.
Well, that's on the searcher. I'm sorry. You don't snowshoe in anywhere.
Right.
Well, then why would you say, then why would you bring it up? Like, I don't think that's a valid example because that person obviously should not have been snowshoeing anywhere, right?
Yeah. So let me say it in a different way to maybe get to the point I was thinking. I would think that Justin wouldn't specifically right after a searcher got rescued, put out something to encourage that searcher again. So he knows that happened. So I'm trying to make the point that the March 31st discussion statement answer that he gave us, I no longer think that I believe the Scenic Byway is out.
Because it was closed on the day he said that the byway was closed.
Yes.
I guess, but so the question, the bigger question, I think, is why did he give a date to begin with? Why did he say, as of today, with the date and time, it's accessible? Why do you think he had to do it that way?
I don't know.
Well, I think it's a legal issue. If this hunt goes for 10 years and for some reason the road that takes you to where the treasure is gets shut down or permanently closed for some unforeseeable circumstance, the lawyer that he consulted told him, you got to say as of this date. That's what I think. I think he's just covering himself legally. As of this date, it's open. You know, who knows what's going to happen in the future, especially out in a forest or out in the wilderness or whatever.
So let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
If long shot, but if the treasure is hidden on the Scenic Highway past where the road closure was, and we ask the question, is it accessible? And his answer is, as of March 31st, 2025, yes. Does that make sense to you?
Well, but it depends what you mean by accessible. Does it mean I can drive right to where it is? Or does accessible mean I can walk in? And I don't have the answer to that. I'm asking the question. Accessible, it depends what you mean by accessible.
So, okay, let me ask you a question a different way. We asked him that question and he immediately responded with March 31st, 2025. If you needed to debate as the questioner what that means exactly, etc., and Justin answered it immediately, do you think, okay, we just talked about this last night and you were like, the Scenic Byway is out, and now it seems like,
because now I'm rehearing what he said. So it sounds like part of the year it's not accessible. Is that why he gave the time? As of today, it's accessible. Logically means part of the year it might be shut down. which wintertime I could get it. Don't go looking for it in the wintertime. So when he said, as of today, it's accessible and the scenic byway was shut down, part of me wants to say that means it's not on the scenic byway because it was closed, but it depends what he meant by accessible. It depends on the definition of the
Emma
word.
says, I too think the byway was closed and is out. Okay, as long as Emma agrees with me. You agreed with me yesterday. I guess you woke up on a different side of the bed. We had this whole talk so then we wouldn't get snarky with each other, and then you changed your mind. Okay.
Well, we really need to, whatever. All right. So here, I know you have a list. Go ahead for your next one.
Okay. Highway. Cooper. We have, I don't think this is on his website unless the website's been updated. Cooper, the guy that we know that Justin got confused, he said. There was some confusion is how I think he put it. And Lisa was accidentally given the $100 related to Colorado, and it was actually in Wyoming. This is like old news, but Cooper decided today, many people think Cooper is Justin, on X, and I don't know if he is or he isn't, but I just do think it's funny that he just clarified and he posted on X the actual, how he analyzed, how he got it, and the GPS coordinates to the Wyoming actual location of the $100 contest in the book.
Do you think he could have done it because of is it this area? Is it that area? Where exactly is it? But I understand people thinking it's either Justin or somebody he knows doing this for him, that type thing.
I don't know how to.
Yeah, I don't know how to take it. I don't know how the wrong location was given as a winner, and then I made a mistake. It's really this. I don't know how that happens. I don't. Let me just take a time out, K-Pro, because we have breaking news. For the thrill of the chase collectors, that is. We've got 2 eBay auctions going on. The first one's by Copper Dan. Copper Dan is signing a signed thrill of the chase, and I don't know if it's a first edition. There you go. This is a very special book, around 2019. Okay, so this one says it doesn't matter who you are. It only matters who they think you are. It also comes with a doodle by Forrest. Okay, he purchased the book from Heather Dawn. Forrest Fenn searchers out there, you know who Heather Dawn was. So he decided it's time to part with it. So there you go. If you're looking for the thrill of the chase with this signature and doodle from Forrest, it is there. It's going to end on Monday's show next week. So that Copper Dan put that up, and I think I'll put the link in the chat here when I get a minute. We sold our first edition Thrill of the Chase, and what I did is I now put up a collection of all 3 of the Thrill of the Chase related books from Forrest Fenn. The Thrill of the Chase, Too Far to Walk, and Once Upon a While. Started it out at $100. This also will end next Monday. So maybe you're new and you just want to see what those books were. For the Thrill of the Chase, this is all 3. Forrest said there were hints in all 3 books. Too Far to Walk has the map. Once Upon a While. And let's see. Once Upon a While does have the doodle. There's Cynthia running to the treasure chest, or the doodle that Forrest always did of somebody running to the treasure chest. And again, the Thrill of the Chase is 5th edition, but Too Far to Walk and Once Upon a While are 1st edition. So there it is. I'll put the links in the chat, and we'll go live next Monday, and we'll show those end as well. So just want to let you guys know, put the word out there if anybody's looking for Thrill of the Chase books. And if you're not, then don't worry about it. All right. What else?
And some people are saying stop texting. I'm not texting. We are having to ban so many people. So if you guys could cool it in chat tonight, I'm actually looking at the chat and having to mod because I don't think Hooli is here tonight. So it is making for an interesting night of grumpy birds. So let's not have any more grumpy birds. Let's just roll with it. Or I'll go back to being grumpy like I was Monday. But we have so many things to talk about. We have to keep going.
Trying to get a link, Dan, for yours, but I can't get the short link. Let's see if that works. There we go. There's a link to Copper Dan's. But again, those end Monday, and we'll talk about them. We'll show them on Monday. Okay.
Okay.
Sorry.
Do we have time tonight to talk about Shawshank? That whole
yeah, we have time. Shawshank. Okay. What was Shawshank again?
So I didn't understand. Justin said that it is impossible for him to move the treasure at this point because
yeah.
And
I
so,
understand.
So to give you guys background, I didn't know. It's like Shaw 172, 642, something or other. Justin put out something a long time ago. I didn't quite understand it. Mike actually dumbed it down for the person that needs a crutch and explained it to me, and it made sense. A lot of people on our Discord are asking, one, why can't Justin move it then? Because the steward has some sort of information, and the Shawshank code must give something out. So, Mike, do you want to? I will stop you when something goes over my head.
We could do a whole show on that, actually.
That's why I said, do we have time tonight?
Yeah, no, I didn't know that's what you're going to get into. So let's table that one until next Monday. Let's talk about the hash, the SHA 512 hash next Monday, and we'll get into that. That's how the treasure chest can't. This is how the treasure can't be moved, which a lot of people think Jack did for the Forest Fen treasure, which is why Justin came up with it. So it is important. Let's talk about that next Monday. Let's talk about instead, K-Pro, why do you think, and I'd be interested what people in the chat think, why do you think that both Justin Posey and John Collins Black will not rule out national parks? Why do you think that is?
I'm going to be really honest.
It's illegal. Why would they just not say, yeah, it's illegal? It's not in a national park.
I think I have different answers for each of them. One possibility, I think, for both, I think Justin has communicated that he's concerned or aware that his treasure could be found this summer because, like, people are on the prowl for it, right?
Okay, yeah.
And John has already said publicly in an interview, one of the boxes are going to be found. So are they trying not to rule it out just because I personally believe, especially now more with Justin and with this last interview, JCB, I think they are trying to cause so much noise. This is what Forrest did after Jack had found it, and he did this data dump of scrapbooks. I think they're trying to, Justin more than JCB, but kind of causing some chaos and noise to try to distract people from working on the book and getting it moved along. What do you think about that?
Well, I see some answers in the chat. Mr. Boxfinder said JP said it's because it would rule out too much of his search area. I mean, if you ruled out the national parks on the map in Justin's book, does that rule out that much of an area?
Okay, wait. Wait, hold on. Let's look at this.
Okay.
Go to Chat GBT or any Chat GBT. What percentage of land in the United States is national park land? I would say maybe 1%. That's going to be my guess. But go ahead, Mike. You
want me to look that up? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, yes.
Oh.
Those are the words I just said.
All right.
Bring up Chat GBT.
Okay. Which we're going to have to pay for one of these days. All right. But my answer while I'm doing this for you, my answer is, and somebody else put it here, is that they don't want to ruin, they want people to adventure and see nice places. I think that's more of the reason for me. Like if I live right next to a national park and I read JCB's book or Justin's book and I go, wow, I think those clues fit right here, I'm going to go boots on the ground. But if he rules it out, I can't go have that experience. I think that's why they don't want to rule it out.
Then
They
does
just want
he hate him?
people to
Wait.
experience the outdoors. What?
My kids are card-carrying Cherokee Indians, so he doesn't think going to an Indian reservation is beautiful. That's the same. So, gosh.
Has he ruled out? Have they ruled out? Have they actually ruled that out? I don't know what they've ruled out.
Yeah, they did.
But Indian Reserve is different. You're on somebody else. It's a foreign land. I think that's different than a national park. The people own the national park.
Both of them are illegal, potentially.
Well, but then that becomes.
But let me also say, Justin may have a reason that he is not stating yet. I am not ruling out national parks for him. His grandpa could have negotiated something, as far as we know, with the steward stuff. John saying, I had lawyers, but I didn't have them look into legalities of where I put the treasures. 100% bullshit liar. 100%.
Here's the answer to your question, K-Pro. According to ChatGPT, 2.2% of the United States land area is designated as national parks. Yeah. However, in contrast, about 13% of U.S. land is protected under various designations, including national forest, wildlife refuge, and other conservation areas. What's that?
So the reason that Justin won't rule out, or whoever won't rule out national parks, is because there's not enough beauty in the other 95% of America?
Well, or that it is hidden in a national park. Because with his designation of I intentionally abandoned property, I wonder if somehow he has found a legal loophole where it's not a treasure trove. It's not a geocache. It is intentionally abandoned property. I just wonder if he's made that work legally somehow.
No, so between the two, if it's possible, that might be Justin's reason. But John giving the reason of, oh, I just didn't care and I didn't look at what I hired a bunch of lawyers, but I didn't hire a bunch of lawyers for the legal piece. It was just for whether I can open the olive jar. John, we love you, but you're 100% not telling the truth there. 100%.
So you don't think Johns are in a national park at all?
I didn't say that at all.
Well, I'm asking.
I have no idea.
Okay. All right, everybody. So yeah, they both won't answer. They both won't rule it out. And I don't know. What do you guys think? Why do you think they won't rule it out? It seems to be it's illegal unless they've somehow figured out a loophole, or there's some kind of land easement or, you know, consideration, like Justin's family owns property. He did say it was landlocked, didn't he? Didn't he say that property was landlocked too? I thought. Maybe I'm wrong.
Not that I know of.
All right.
I don't know. I don't look up his family land. Okay, here's the biggest one. Breaking news, and we've got to talk about it. Most people know, some people don't. The audiobook. Can we talk about the controversy heard around the world?
Yeah. And I guess let me just say this about the last show we did. I think some people thought I was pretty negative or I didn't want to talk about it. Like, it's his treasure hunt. He can do what he wants. The only point I was making was I can't really put down two people that hide $1 million treasures. You know what I mean? We can have constructive criticism. That's fine. But me personally, I'm not going to put them down. Like, why are they posting on Facebook and Twitter? As long as the treasure is actually there, and this isn't a scam, and as long as they're not giving away any info to the location of the treasure, to me, I don't have that big of an issue with it. Okay, go, Kate. Audiobook.
Oh, no. Let's table audiobook for a second since you said that.
Mm-hmm.
I, of course, believe the same. They get to do whatever they want, which is completely beside the point.
Right.
Blackbeard gets to do whatever he wants.
But
now, if you're saying, I think it's so we did a video maybe a year ago about the top 10 things we would love treasure hunters to do because that's what we really enjoy. I'm going to give you an example, someone I absolutely adore, but I think it's a challenge with his hunt. Michael O'Connell. He's doing a hunt. We didn't know that there was 9 or 12 or 15. We don't know exactly how many caches there are, etc. And he's not going to give the solutions out after the fact. I'm just saying that's less than ideal for a hunt I want to work on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying he's terrible. I'm not saying don't work on it, etc. I believe our channel has been pretty transparent about what things we like and we don't. Mike, all of a sudden, when millions are involved, he doesn't want to say that opinion anymore. I'm going to say it whether there's millions, whether the guy's my buddy, whether the guy's my enemy. I'm going to call it like I see it. So I don't think, but you're saying I don't have a problem with it. I'm not saying I have a problem with it. It is less than ideal. You said that during the Forrest Fenn hunt, and now you're saying we did PowerPoints.
There's a difference. The Forrest Fenn hunt. You don't think there's a difference between what Forrest did and what JCB and Justin are doing?
There are two things that Forrest did. Forrest gave secret clues. One,
right.
I'm not talking about that in any way whatsoever. None. Zero. The other thing that he did was communicated privately with searchers.
About the treasure chest. See, there's a distinction about the treasure
chest. Exactly.
Right.
Much like
That's
Forrest,
the difference.
or much like Justin, privately communicating about national parks or the treasure chest or anything else.
But he updated his website with the clarification. So
no, he hasn't. Not on every topic, Mike. And if you say otherwise,
well, then maybe I'm not aware of what is going down. I don't know. I mean, I hear things from people, but it's like kind of like prove it. You know what I mean?
Oh, they do. Like, they provide Sturmworm. We vilified him.
Give one example. Give one example if you can.
Sturmworm said I got a private message from Justin when I let him know that the $100 contest is in Wyoming, and he said it was, and you guys think it's in Colorado, and we all said, "Let us see the email. We don't believe you." You know what Sturm said? Bring it. Boom, and he showed it to us.
Right, and then Justin updated it and corrected it.
Yeah.
So how is that?
After you get.
But again, that has nothing to do with the treasure location. It has to do with this little mini contest he did in his book.
How do you know that?
So you think the treasure is located where that location is?
Of course not. But $100. It's in the book, but it's not treasure hunt related. Okay.
Only Justin knows that, right? So I trust Justin and JCB to not give somebody their treasure hunt. I mean, that's when they say, I think, in my opinion, that's when they say they've learned from the Forrest Fenn issues. That's what they're talking about.
Do you want to take back a year ago when you said it is less than ideal when a treasure hunt originator, Randy, you're not the best anymore. Why don't you privately email all of us different topics throughout? Not as long as it's not your exact solve, it is okay to do that. It's okay that you've changed your mind, Mike. Once you have Bart emailing you and giving you stuff and all that, you can change your mind. But I'm going to stay with the same moral compass I had before to now.
So you feel that treasure hunt creators should never be able to contact anybody in any way?
Is that
regarding their treasure hunt?
That's not what I said at all.
Then what's the difference? Then what's the difference? What I've said is, as long as it doesn't have to do with the treasure location, he's going to talk to people. He put all 3 of his social medias on the website. I mean, he's going to respond to people on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. I don't have a problem with that. One, as long as the treasure is actually out there, and you bring up Blackbeard, which is this a scam? I don't think so. JCB's or Justin's. And then he can comment about whatever he wants. I personally don't have a problem with it as long as it's not related to clues or to the treasure location. That's all.
Okay. So
and you're right. You're right. I don't know what those are. You're right. So I'm trusting Justin and JCB to not do that. That's all. I can't, I mean, pardon the vulgar expression, kids, plug your ears, but I can't shit on 2 people that put $1 million each out there to hide in a treasure hunt.
Do you think
I can't do it?
Okay. So
that's just
unless it is butterflies and sunshine and smoke up your ass, we can't talk about it. Is that what you're saying?
No, we can talk about it.
Well,
I personally
don't shit on them. Don't shit on them.
Right. Well, that's how I feel. Some people have felt that way, and I don't. That's all. You can talk about whatever you want. I personally don't feel that there's an issue that we need to talk about it. That's just me. We can have a show where everybody shares whatever email they got.
We had an entire show about Sturmworm's email, and you're like, no, it would be on Justin's site. I don't think it's real. Oh, you were wrong.
Right. And that doesn't affect for the treasures hidden. Like, okay, I was wrong. I don't understand how Justin got that wrong. I've said that. It doesn't make sense that he got that wrong. But eventually he corrected it. So I guess when Sturmworm pointed it out to him, I don't know what happened. I mean, Justin kind of gave a wishy-washy explanation of, I got so many emails. How do you not know it's the wrong location? I don't know what happened there, but I don't think the hunt is somehow... The hunt is somehow in doubt because of it. That's all.
Right. And I never, ever once, ever in any way, ever said the hunt is in doubt because of this. I have said 100 times, and you keep saying, well, now he's not allowed to talk to anyone about anything. Never said that. I don't know, you're trying to be, which you usually are. You're trying to be dramatic to make a point. I never said either of those, so don't project it on me. What I'm saying is I do believe it is okay. It isn't shitting on someone to say, this isn't perfect, but he's doing his best and it's okay. I think that's okay to say. You're saying sunshine only, otherwise it's shitting on people. You and I can disagree.
What you just said, I didn't hear it in the last show we did. That's all. I didn't hear you put it that way in the last show we did. That's all. And we can talk about it.
Just not listening, like happens a lot.
Maybe. I have no problem talking about those emails. I just don't think we should.
You just said you don't want to because it's shitting on him. And I don't know which one.
The way things were portrayed, I think, wasn't in a good, healthy way. But that's just me. It all depends. And the answer is, so when I say as long as it doesn't affect the treasure or the clues, I don't know what the clues are. So the only person who knows that is Justin and JCB. So at this point, I trust them to make the right decisions. That's all.
Sure, of course.
At this point, unless there's some evidence to make us think, oh, wait a minute, something's not right.
Yeah, of course. I agree with you.
Yeah, okay.
100% I agree with you. The things I'm talking about are completely different to that. But you're saying you didn't hear it or you didn't listen or you didn't whatever. Okay.
But we did a whole show where there was a train on fire going off the track, which I think was in jest. Just like when I called it, whoa, you're angry, that was in jest too. You know, I play the soundboard. We make jokes and stuff. But it's just we did a whole show on how what they're doing is wrong. At least I took it to what you were saying is they shouldn't be talking to searchers.
It's less than ideal is what I said.
Well, less than ideal. Okay.
Okay. Right. And if we want to get rid of the soundboard and get rid of my thumbnails, that's fine. But you're going to call me on a train joke, but you aren't going to do that with the soundboard?
Oh no, I just said the
That's less
soundboard.
than ideal, Mike. That doesn't mean I hate you, but that's less than
Right.
ideal.
Okay. Well, I'm glad we never have to talk about that again. Unless there's a new email you want to talk about or a new communication.
No, I have lots and I will keep them to myself. Not from Justin directly, but from others. And I do think they have meaning and I think it's awesome. And we need to blow sunshine because we can't shit on people.
Well, I just don't feel it's productive to do that. That's all. Unless there's one where you go, well, look, this was related to the treasure location. I mean, the other consideration is whenever JCB, I don't think JCB's really doing it so much. He has a production team that responds to people. And I guess Justin has a support team, but it's actually Justin on the social media. But the other thing is something they say could be construed by a searcher that, oh, my solution's right. He told me it was right. And then that's a problem in and of itself. But again, I don't feel like I'm the police to have to come forward and say, hey, everybody, he said this,
No,
and
we
this.
should be the transparent channel that every single hunt, we have been honest about our opinions, whether it is absolutely not, we think there's something really wrong here, or this isn't perfect, or we love it, and here's why. Nobody's perfect. So none of them are going to be perfect, but we have been honest and transparent up to this time. You don't want to do that anymore. That's fine.
Well, no, I am being honest and transparent. I'm giving my opinion on this situation that you brought up. Your opinion's different. That's fine. But everybody has their own opinion. If you want to have people on the show to talk about their communications they got from Justin, go ahead. We can debate it, but why? In my opinion, it's kind of like.
Well, so for example, if Sturmwarren came in and said, I got this email from Justin, and what you guys are talking about, not the exact treasure hunt specific location. Hey, the contest I would have won it. I actually got the right spot. Or we're going to just say, no, that's private communication. That's shitty that you bring that up, Sturm.
Well, we did. When he first came out with it, nobody believed him, right?
Right. Why wouldn't we believe him? Because it's probably it's less than ideal of how we found out. That is why. It's
less than ideal that the wrong answer was given as the winner, right? It doesn't make sense.
Right. And Justin wasn't forced to answer that and change his website until we got the email from Sturm and went, wait, this has been up here for at least a couple weeks. Why is it worded like this? And then he changed it based on our feelings of this is less than ideal. Justin's been a rock star about updating things. We'll say some stuff in Discord sometimes, and he'll go and change his website as we're in there to make sure it is more clear. So I actually think, maybe I'm wrong, that he appreciates not maybe my tone sometimes, but the honesty of what we're liking and not liking.
Yeah, and that's true. You can give your opinion on what you like and you don't like, just like I can. So yeah, that's true. Just like I like Bart's Hunt, you don't. Yeah, that's true. That's fine. We all have our own opinion. That's very true. As of right now, today, March 26th at 7:13 p.m., to quote Justin, I think they're both doing pretty good hunts as of right now. But one, we don't know the solution yet. And we don't know, I mean, you could say, well, if Justin had the location wrong for his little mini hunt, what is he screwed up on on the clues in the poem or something?
Well,
you could try and make that case.
You don't want to shit on him.
Well, I'm not, obviously. So.
Well, you just said he's incorrect. How can he run a bigger hunt? Oh, don't say that.
All right. What else, K-Pro?
I'm done for tonight.
K-Pro's done for the night, everybody.
Yeah, I have updates from Dylan Locals about the book signing. I'll talk about that later. TreasureCon date. I'll talk about that later. Making money off the hunts. We can talk about that later.
Oh, Justin's
vehicles, the audiobook. There's tons of differences. We'll talk about that later. So yeah, I'm good.
All on Monday's show, everybody. So actually, or we could do it Thursday, I guess. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. We're about 700 up. K-Pro left. We're about 700 subscribers away from 10,000. So if you guys should hit the subscribe button, hit the bell, you'll know when we go live. And I'll probably make some videos throughout the week this week. So nice, Jordan. All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. If there's one thing on our show, it's we give our opinions, don't we? We'll see you next time. And happy Memorial Day, everybody.